Welcome, flip clock fans. Here we have a special flip clock radio with a name with some interesting horological and historical roots that I'll explain shortly. This is the Longines Symphonette LCR-220. It's got a few issues, including poor reception due to static from the AM/FM selector, as well as from the volume knob. The clock is dirty and has some paint specks all over it. We'll definitely get those problems fixed. Otherwise, the clock is working fine and the clock alarms as it should. So what's the history of this clock name, and why is this flip clock sitting on my work table now? The Longines Symphonette was an American radio program sponsored by the Longines Watch Company that aired from 1941 through 1958, broadcasting classical music. Symphonette can be defined as a symphony orchestra that plays light music in addition to the standard classical repertoire. A related entity, the Longines Symphonette Society, was a record label active from the early 1960s into the 1970s. Longines Symphonette was used as the trade name of some women's Longines watches, as well as electronic devices, including transistor radios, televisions, clock radios, and electronic calculators. Longines Wittnauer refers to the historic partnership of the Swiss luxury watchmaker Longines and American watch and clock manufacturer Wittnauer, with Wittnauer serving as the U.S. distributor of Longines watches, and later integrating the Longines movements into Wittnauer-branded watches. Aviation pioneer Amelia Earhart utilized Longines Wittnauer timepieces and instruments during her historic flights, particularly her solo transatlantic crossing in 1932. Longines Wittnauer and Westinghouse were linked when the American conglomerate Westinghouse Electric Corporation bought Wittnauer in 1969, uniting a major Swiss watch distributor with an electronics giant. Their association ended when in 1983 Longines joined what would eventually be renamed the Swatch Group. Westinghouse later sold the Wittnauer brand to Bulova in 2001. This history explains why vintage Longines watches sometimes carry Longines Wittnauer markings, reflecting Wittnauer's role as Longines' U.S. distributor and partner in creating notable timepieces. This is also why the Longines Symphonette Model LCR-220 can in some cases be found with the name Wittnauer included on the front. It seems most likely that the company Wittnauer contracted with a Japanese company to produce the flip clock radios and then brand them Longines Symphonette. But why did we have to get this flip clock? Well, it was recently discovered to have made an appearance during Season 1, Episode 1 of the TV series Fargo, which premiered in 2014. I had never watched Fargo until I heard about this flip clock. It looks like I'm stuck on it now, though. In the first episode, we meet hitman Lorne Malvo, Billy Bob Thornton, as he passes through Bemidji, Minnesota. Malvo is a psychopath who takes pleasure in causing chaos between his murders. He was staying at this seedy motel after completing a random, unsolicited murder of a man who had bullied insurance salesman Lester Nygaard, who he randomly met in an emergency room. In this scene, where the Longines Symphonette Model LCR-220 flip clock radio can be seen, he was posing as an estate attorney as he had a phone conversation with the eldest son of the man he murdered, telling him that the estate in its entirety would be left to the younger son. This pushed the son into attacking his younger brother. This is just the beginning of the organized chaos brought about by Malvo. And that's why you're looking at this flip clock now in Flip Clock Fan Studios. So like I mentioned, the clock is very dirty inside and out. Getting the clock apart is straightforward, removing knobs and screws, but there are some curious differences in the design of the clock that I will show you. Here I'm going to remove the knob here using two staple removers. Seem to work really well. So you simply remove the screws that are available. The cabinet lifts off. You can see the paint specks there. This is the radio tuner bulb. The clock is delivering 6 volts AC here. We'll have to replace that. The unusual thing here is that the components are neatly arranged on these slide-out supports. No screws into the cabinet, just screws down onto these decks. Everything just slides out. The clock comes with an orange neon glow bulb, supplied with 120 volts current. This one's not working. I've not seen an orange neon glow bulb with a white band like this. I know it's orange from experience with another parts clock I have of this model. The clock radio is just generally dirty and will need to be cleaned up. The AM/FM switch and volume control will be fixed with an application of contact cleaner. Now, a real strange thing is how they chose to attach the front face. I'll need to get this off to clean correctly. It's just straight up glued on. That's it. Thankfully, because of old age, the glue gives way very easily. Just gently prying up eventually gets it off. There's an insert here where the volume knob is located that is clipped in at the back. This needs to be unclipped and pushed out the front. You can see that someone got really happy with the glue application. It's a wonder that it came off the way it did. You can see the paint spots here that I'll need to remove. And here it is, the Longines Symphonette LCR-220 back in shape. The radio dial is not brightly lit, but you can see it fine. The sleep function works well. Pressing the manual button plays the radio. Moving the volume no longer causes static, and the AM/FM control works as it should. AM comes in loud and clear. To set the alarm, you press the automatic button. This will cause the clock to alarm to music. Pressing the buzzer button will allow you to wake to the soft, pleasant sounds reminiscent of a barber's hair clippers that are in rough shape. Overall, the clock cleaned up great with soap and water. Do not use alcohol on these, it will seriously dull the finish. Ammonia products will remove the chrome paint. So will semichrome polish, which has naphtha. It's a good looking clock. I like the texture around the digits. That's molded into the plastic. Model LCR-220. I want to take the time to thank some people who have recently helped me in these flip clock adventures. First, of course, is my wife Lynn, who's very supportive of my hobby. Thanks to Can Clock from FlipClockFans.com, who discovered and identified this Longines Symphonette on the TV show Fargo. And thanks to all those who just take the time to be kind, which boosts me up. Here's looking at you, Christina, and my other flip clock friends. But of course, all who take the time to comment and like the videos are greatly appreciated. If you watched the previous live stream, you know what's next. Thanks to my Russian friend Dmitri. Dmitri stands alone in this world as someone you can always count on to be supportive. We should all aspire to be more like Dmitri. So in 2026, let's plan to take the time to be kind. Like Dmitri. Well, thanks for taking the time.